Hello and welcome to another episode of the Triple Takeover Toycast. My name is Sixo, but more on that later because, as ever, we're here to talk about Transformers. Well, not as ever, because we do sometimes talk about other things, don't we, lads?
Like having a big fidget, which is what you said right before you started the intro.
I
and
did say that.
Us not to laugh.
Yeah, I did say get it all out your system right now. Have a big fidget, and then we're all good.
I'm not fidgeting.
There we go. You're actually doing very well, Liam. Thank you. Yes, indeed. There's one of our number that likes a good fidget every so often. I shan't say who, but you can work it out, I'm sure.
I wonder who it could be based on this conversation.
I said nothing.
He's fidgeting now.
I didn't even realise.
So with me as ever, as you may have heard, is M.A.S. Say hello, M.A.S.
Hello. Oh, I am M.A.S. I forgot to introduce myself last week. So hello, everyone. I'm M.A.S. from TFsquareone.
You did indeed. I'm sure they spent the whole of that 3 hours
wondering who that was.
In the last 2 weeks, I've just been going, who was that guy?
Kept interrupting everybody.
The one with the posh voice. And then
that's me.
And then we have Liam from Toybox Soapbox. Say hello, Liam.
What ho?
In true Liam style. And tonight we're here to talk about hidden gems. Now
but who are you? I made this mistake.
I said this. I said it already.
All right.
I even did my catchphrase.
Did you? Did you introduce yourself first, you cheeky bugger?
I did, yeah, I got it out of the way.
I was so busy trying not to fidget that I didn't even hear him.
But so that's how professional podcasters do it, you see. They have an idea of what they're going to say, and then they say it. And...
Yeah, have you all noticed how we've decided to ditch the scripted intros because we thought this would sound a lot more natural? 51 episodes in, and we've still not cracked it.
Exactly. Is this professional podcasting? I don't know, but we'll go with it anyway. So now we are going to talk about hidden gems, which is something that we've done before. We have done an episode on this already. You can catch it. It was episode, I think it was 43. I looked it up earlier, and I feel like I should remember, but I want to say 43. Maybe not, but it was a good one. We all enjoyed it, and it had a really good response as well. And at the time, we did think, we could maybe do more of that at some point in the future. So lo and behold, we're back at it again. And the concept of this is really simple. We've each chosen 2 toys from Transformers, one kind of vintage, one I was going to say modern, but modern's probably a little bit
non-G1 basically.
Yeah, one G1, one non-G1. Let's put it that way. Non-vintage is a bit of a stretch, I think, because that's such a large.
Because that's how we see Transformers, isn't it? G1. Non-G1.
Exactly.
All out of the tap.
G1 and other.
I did spend a good 10 minutes before this episode started trying to work out how we quantify vintage. Like, is this vintage? What are our limits that we've imposed on ourselves in this podcast?
This is interesting because Sixo has used the 20 years thing. And I was speaking to my wife about this, and she used to work in fashion, and on the subject of reissues, I was telling her that the mad thing is that, I was telling her about a reissue and how that was now 20 plus years old and is also vintage. And she said, if it was clothes, that would be called retro because vintage is authentic to the era it was released in. So
that's true, actually.
So what the reissues actually are retro now as opposed to actually vintage.
Do you know, I really like that. And actually that plays into the whole retro hot rod release, doesn't it? That's kind of got the title already, right. So I'm kind of into that.
Yeah, the thing is now, like the retro release was 20 years back. The vintage release was 40 odd years back. So this is whatever that is. Yeah.
That's a good point. That's what they do in shoes as well with Jordans. When they release old ones, they refer to them as retros.
Mm-hmm. There you go. The really disturbing thing will be when G1 Transformers, when we get to 100 years. Yeah. So that'll be 2084. Antique. And then there'll be antiques.
Yeah.
Does no one else remember when they were on the Antiques Roadshow in like the 90s?
I do, yeah. I think Paul was on the Antiques Roadshow, wasn't he?
He's not that old, is he?
Was he an antique?
Yes, he was talking about himself. Now, is he was talking about himself.
Someone else took him on to appraise him.
Well, next time he asks what episode he should listen to, I should put it at 51.
Yeah, indeed.
Because it's half your age. No.
Well, yeah, we should also mention there, before anything else, that we have a sponsor for the evening.
Because we're professional podcasters.
Indeed, professional podcasters have a sponsor, and so it goes. Our sponsor is tfsource.com, who you can check out for all your Transformers and third-party needs. And as ever, we'll do a bit of a longer segment on them in the middle of the pod. We also have a Patreon, don't we, M.A.S.?
Yes. If you would like to access this stuff early, or you want to have a say in what we do, whether it's these episodes or our exclusive minisodes, or you want to catch our exclusive mini-series about very specific topics over a period of chapters, or you want access to the Discord server, or just more content of Triple Takeover, then go to patreon.com/Triple Takeover.
And if you want even more Triple Takeover, you can go over to our merch store where we've got some real hidden gems there. You can head over to rebel.com/people/Triple Takeover/explore and find all sorts of wonderful stuff. A lot of Sixo's wonderful covers that he does for each episode on stuff like shower curtains, t-shirts, leggings, other stuff that doesn't exist.
So I'm a bit sad now because you did your own Explore. You did your own little backup singer thing, and I like doing the Explore normally. I didn't get to do it today.
But I thought I'd get the web address in early, but I forgot what it is. What was it again? Was it rebel.com/people/Triple Takeover/explore?
Explore.
That's where to go, dudes. Go buy some cool stuff.
Check it out, indeed. So, on the topic of hidden gems then, we've each, as I say, chosen 2 toys. There's no real major format to this. It's just us talking, basically, about toys.
Yeah, some of us didn't even choose until, looks at watch 5 minutes ago. So, it's not like we
Now, is that about
planned
me or Liam?
All of us, really?
Right.
I technically still haven't, because I've got 3 on my desk just in case I change my mind.
Just got an alternate, just a backup. Just a stand-in. No, I did choose my 2 earlier, but then I flip-flopped and chose something else, and then I went back to the original 2. So I'm very happy with my choices now. Who wants to kick us off? Liam, you were first to go last time, so shall we repeat that performance?
Oh. We can do.
The enthusiasm is off the charts, mate. I can't tell you. I'm excited to hear what yours are, because I don't even know.
Oh, I'm so thrilled to be doing this first then.
Does it please you to be the first?
God, it is like you're summoned to be here for a purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, we very much did.
But yes, I will go first then. And I've gone a bit vintage as well, as we all have. But I've gone with G2 Road Rocket.
Oh,
nice.
Fantastic choice.
So this is a toy I only got quite recently. I think it was last year. And it's fantastic. For those not familiar, it's one of the laser cycles from G2. I am correct there, aren't I?
Yep.
Yes, yeah, very much so.
So it's a red motorcycle who recently had a a new version in Generations. We had a legacy version based on the RC toy. But this vintage toy, like, it transforms into an actual bike, which feels like a lost art amongst Transformers these days.
Yeah.
Where it is just a complete motorcycle. It just does something different to what they do now. Whereas there's always a compromise, isn't it? They're always quite chunky bikes with robot parts, whereas here, all folds up. And the transformation's fantastic. You've got it, haven't you, Sixo?
I do have it, yeah. It's actually a real favourite of mine, I've got to tell you. I think when I first got it, I sort of didn't pay enough attention to it. I thought it was one of those that, you transform once and you're like, oh, that's pretty sweet. And then you whack on a shelf somewhere and then you don't pay too much attention. And we're all guilty of that from time to time, aren't we? Let's be fair. And then when I came back to it, and sort of actually, I think it was when I got the Robots in Disguise versions, because they've been, both of the 2 laser cycles have been repainted at least twice, I think I'm right in saying, one of which is in RID as Sideways, I think, and the other one was AXA. And when I got those versions, they're really nice too. I remember transforming it then and being like, oh, this is actually legit fantastic. Like I hadn't, sort of taken in how great this toy is.
Yeah, because even though I've come to it late, I was not expecting the transformation to be quite as exciting as it was.
It's something, isn't it? It's really involved.
Yeah, even tonight, having a quick go of it again, it was like really difficult at first to work out how it goes because it's not obvious at all. It takes a few moments to figure out how it twists and turns. It's a really, really great transformation.
I actually think, I'm going to say this truthfully, it's one of the most accomplished motorbike transformers of all time. Yeah. Like, the bike mode is second to none, genuinely.
I legit thought you were going to say it's one of my favourite Beast Wars toys.
Indeed. Do you think it was Beast Wars? What sort of animal does that look like?
Well, it's one of your classic phrases. It's legit one of my top favourite Beast Wars toys ever.
Do I say that? Yeah. All Beast Wars toys are my favourite Beast Wars toy ever. They're just,
fair.
There are very few bad ones.
But you are absolutely right. I can't think of many bikes, particularly since that, nail a motorcycle mode quite as cleanly as this does.
It's really nice looking. I'm just looking at the robot mode.
Have you never had one?
Never owned it, never handled it either. And the wheels, you got to get the wheels right on a bike, haven't you? You've got to get that Street Hawk vibe immediately. And this does that, and I'm noticing it's, am I right in saying it's quite asymmetrical as well? In terms of I'm looking at the arms, and he's just got a gaping hole in his left wrist.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a downside, I will say. But
it covers his head.
Yeah, it does. It's very hard to explain how this thing transforms. It sort of looks obvious from the picture, but it's not until you get it in hand that you're like, Oh, okay.
Because most of these, they do the thing where one side becomes the front wheel and one side becomes the back. But here, the legs both fold up to become the seat. Mm-hmm. But it's quite a thin seat comparatively to what you get a lot now. It's very chunky, blocky sort of back of a bike. But this, it's fantastic. Just the way it does it. It's so neat and tidy.
That seat actually looks like it's soft and squishy. There's just something about the way that's painted. It just looks like a proper bike seat. That's quite fun.
This is one where I swear that they probably started with the vehicle mode and then kind of worked like, okay, how would we get a robot out of this? Whereas I think, so many Transformers, isn't it? It goes the other way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like that because we've ended up with a super quirky, weird robot form that, dare I say, other than the fact that it's articulated, looks like it could have come from 1984.
Yeah.
It's got the even the wheels being on the shoulders and that kind of stuff.
Head sculpt too.
Yeah, the head sculpt, all of it to me is like very early, kind of something that was a hand-me-down from like Diaclone or Microman or something like that. It kind of has that look to it somehow.
So explain to me why he's got a cable running from his right shoulder to like behind his head.
It's one of the laser cycle element. It lights up.
All right. Is that something that lasts through the years? Like, does the one you have still work?
I've not put a battery in mine to try it, so I can't actually comment on the light up feature. I just know that it exists.
Mine works. It's all right. It's a very basic gimmick. I mean, it's a lot of Generation 2 gimmicks are basic by their very nature, but what they did in Generation 2 very much was kind of have, rather than having subgroups, well, I suppose it was subgroups. I suppose it's not that different to G1 really in that respect, but it's little miniature gimmicks all kind of peppered through the line. Everyone had a gimmick basically. So and this just happened to be light up. It's a bit like old laser rods, like Optimus Prime. G2 laser, Optimus Prime.
This one just seems to have a lot of gubbins around just that light up. Like it's got the cable and everything. Like really seems like it did something. Like did it fire a laser or no? It just lights up.
But it's kind of cool how that is the assembly that goes across the back wheel.
Yeah.
Then it says it's some sort of mad chainsaw.
It's super neat, honestly. It's just for me the big thing with this toy is it looks kind of goofy, but still awesome. But it's just the transformation that makes it.
It's insane because when you look at the robot mode, it looks like the bike has exploded because, like M.A.S.K says, there's so much gubbins, but there's so much mass to it, width. But then when you look at the bike, it's a really sleek bike.
It seems to be wider than it is long. I know there's a word for that, but I'm not going to say it. But yeah, it does look super wide with those wheel shoulders, which is a really nice touch, actually.
Yeah, I really like the wheel shoulders. I feel like it's a very distinctive element of this design, which isn't on the new toy, is it, Liam?
No, the new toy is just the Transformers Prime RC, but the Generations version, the whatever now, Legacy. So it's all right. It just isn't the same because it doesn't have that silhouette. You can make it because the front wheels come off and turn into some sort of weird gun thing, so you can sort of plug them in to echo it, but it's not quite the same.
I've just seen there's a picture on Hasbro Pulse of the new one with the wheels kind of on the shoulders, and it looks good. To be fair, I do like the look of it.
They do work. It's an all right look. I don't know. There's something that's really exciting about the original, the way the actual wheels flip round like that.
Yeah, it's kind of all integrated.
It's so clever, and particularly like the way the front wheel, I don't know what that thing's called, that goes over the front of the wheel, the cowl, something like that, the sort of cover. But the way it slots in underneath the front of the bike, it's also got his arm on it.
I really like that it's got a little kickstand as well.
Yeah, all the little features that you sort of would have expected from Transformers at the time.
Yeah.
It looks like a real vehicle first and foremost. And then it's got all the little hallmarks like the kickstand.
Yeah, I really like the head sculpt on this toy as well because it's kind of got like a kind of ninja vibe to
Very
me.
Nightbird.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly that. It really reminds me of Nightbird. And it's funny because this is actually an Autobot, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. But it's quite far after the cartoon as well, so I do wonder if there was some influence.
Maybe, I don't know. Do you know? And we're sat here saying he, but isn't it a she now, or have I mistaken that?
The modern version is a she.
Right. And where does that come from then? Or has that just always been a thing? Maybe I missed it.
No, I think it's from the new toy. I'm not sure if she was in the comics.
Right.
Before, maybe in RUW comics, possibly.
Is it a Velocitron toy?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think it might just be on the toy. I think it might just be like in the little bio they've got for her.
That's cool. I'm into it being a she.
What does it say on the fairing? What is that lettering or numbering on the fairing?
Oh, is that what that's called?
Yeah, like the front shieldy bit.
That's the bit I understand. The front shieldy bit. Okay. It says
the cowl.
Cowl. It's Batman. Batbike.
Tap bike.
Tap bike.
Tap bike.
Tap
it's
rocket.
G2, so it is a tap bike.
G2 tap bike. Oh god.
It would look good in black, actually, as a tat bike.
Does it come in black? It's T950. If that makes any sense to you.
Right. Well, your homework is to find out the significance of that.
I think it says on the TF Wiki. If I'd have read it before, I think it says what kind of bike it is.
So have you guys seen the repaints of this ever?
I remember the one in RID.
Yeah.
Yeah,
AXA and
super
Sideways.
nice.
They were such big news when they were released. I remember loads of people were talking about them when they came out. I couldn't really understand the significance of it.
Yeah, and there's a Robot Masters version as well. So I just dropped you a couple of pics in the old chat. So the first picture there is the Robot Masters version, the kind of bright yellow with the little flame down the side. And the second picture is the RID version, which is the kind of yellow and black one.
Yeah,
Looks a bit like a bumblebee.
I'm quite familiar with that. I've seen that many times. That's AXA or Sideways. I can't remember which one it is, but
Sideways.
So there are two molds, right? And the Jazz and the Soundwave that never got released as laser cycles,
Yes.
would they have been repaints of these, or were they completely different laser molds?
This would have been Jazz.
Right, gotcha.
Had Jazz and Soundwave been released, this would have been Jazz, and the other one would have been Soundwave.
Yeah.
The other one's really cool as well. And do you know what the other one's called?
You mean the one the co-release of Road Rocket?
Yeah,
No idea.
it's Road Pig.
Oh yes, I've heard of Road Pig. Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm just laughing because I kind of feel like there's maybe a bit of a Razor Beast connection there somewhere.
They were released in Microman as well, according to the TF Wiki, with slightly different names, weren't they? But they retooled.
Were they?
What must
That's
have been
interesting.
what, like new Microman kind of thing?
It says, this mold was retooled to make the Microman LED Powers toy Max Speeder and Hyper Speeder.
That's definitely going to be a new thing. Absolutely 100%. That's
Yeah,
it's 2000. Yeah, I just checked it out.
Yeah, like Microman did continue, and like they repainted the cassette bike into fancy colors as well, and re-released that. And we're talking about the vintage Micro Change cassette bike. Got a repaint that came with a Microman figure, and I think it was translucent colors as well. I had a bootleg of it for a while. No, I had the helicopter one. But yeah, if you're into bike formers, man, you're pretty well looked after.
It's pretty cool. I love the fact you can possibly put a figure on it as well. It's that kind of size, isn't it?
Well, I just found pictures of the Microman toy. Again, check the chat. And of course, it comes with a little Microman, which you can stack on the bike. That looks epic.
It does look superb.
Oh, yes.
And the Microman is in Energon 6-shot colours. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's really cool. I had forgotten as well about the Microman. I have seen these before, the really kind of day glow hypercolor versions.
Yeah.
I have seen those, the kind of bright green, sort of greeny yellow version. I have seen that before.
Totally go with your Action Master Optimus Prime Microman repaint thingy.
Yeah, kind of would actually. I'm into that.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I am into that. That's maybe one that I could look up in the future. Who knows?
I really love the bike mode on Road Rocket. I'm looking at it, and it just gets nicer and nicer. And wait, which is the one? That's the Microman one. It's like painted red with chrome rims, and that looks even more Street Hawk than the one. Oh, that's so pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really lovely. Tiny little things.
Are they really, really small?
Yeah. They're not very big at all. I'm trying to think of something. Let me hold up to the chat. And there is G1 Warpath.
Oh my goodness, it's not even 2 warpaths.
No, it's about a Warpath and a half.
A warpath and a half. That's the Triple Takeover unit of measurement now. That's it. Everything is however many warpaths.
But instead of rulers, we just have little warpaths glued together.
Right, exactly. Just however many warpaths, just as a little, as our own scale chart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you're measuring rooms, you always measure them in detals, right?
Right.
Oh, that room's about 5x3 detals.
I've never actually owned a Detolf, so
Never have I.
I don't know.
I've owned Dettol, but Dettol.
I've owned Detol, indeed. Yeah.
I have a question. I was looking at pictures of the Legacy Road Rocket, the new one, and there are pictures of the RC riding it and vice versa.
Oh, that's cool.
Just looking at the Road Rocket, if you hold it up again, the old 1.5 Warpaths version, just wondering what would legitimately be able to ride that? Like, could an Action Master look good riding that?
Maybe. Action Masters are not. I mean, you've got some, so you know, but they're not like super posable in that, they're billed as being like hyper posable.
You probably couldn't get a
action figures, but yeah, exactly. Like you can't. If you splay the legs out, it's very much in a not going to stop a pig in an alleyway fashion. You know, it's like
a road pig in an alleyway.
Yeah, not going to stop a road pig in an alleyway.
I can confirm, because I know you're interested, that Kenner Dark Knight Collection Batman does not fit on them.
Oh.
I did try this because he's on my desk.
That's how you know it's tat.
Alas.
Yeah.
Poor
that was
Tatman.
top of my list, that was, for knowing which toys fit on
Bruce, you need a wider A stance, Bruce.
What about a mask figure?
Ooh. We've got to test this now. Liam, have you got a mask?
Come on.
Of course he's got one to
Drum
hand.
roll.
Look at him.
Drum roll.
Come on, Slyrax. No, it's too small.
Wait, which
The
one's too
legs.
small? Slyrax is too small.
Yeah,
He's
Sly
too
Rex.
small. Yeah, look at him.
Looks like he's doing an Evil Knievel on it because he can only stand on this.
I think
Right.
it would suit G.I. Joe size figures.
Okay, nice. Of course, he's got one to hand. Look at that. He's off again.
Yeah.
It's not like his arms are even that long.
Sir, this is a visionary's house.
Uh,
This Mordred, the visionary, he can fit on there quite sort of.
that looks pretty decent.
Yeah, you'd accept that, wouldn't you? As if they
You
were
would.
packed together.
You would
Yeah.
accept that.
Right, lads. Which one of you is actually going to go and collect all these bikes and just set up like a biker cafe photo with all these? Because they look so good.
I'm very tempted by the old Microman Dayglow set.
No. What's the one above it that you posted? This red with gold
The red
brakes,
one.
and it says M2000 on it. That's a
Yeah,
must-have.
that's Microman as well.
Oh,
That's
that looks
Microman.
really good.
Yeah, but I've got a feeling that the really like Dayglow Colours one, I think that might be quite hard to come by. I think that was like an exclusive set or something. Maybe O's Toys R Us. So maybe not. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. But yeah, the other one, the red one, does look super as well.
Lovely choice, actually. Made me really, really want to handle that toy now. I really like that bike mode. It's it just goes to show that with bike formers, if you prioritize the bike and the robot mode has obvious compromises, it can actually be a more attractive toy than the other way around.
I think so.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that, though, because that's one of the appeals of G1 toys, is that they are a car first and a robot second. So the robot mode is lots of car parts, and it's fun seeing how it comes out of that. Rather than when it goes the other way, you've got a robot, but then it's a robot that's meant to look like it's got the car parts on, and then the car mode suffers for it, or the vehicle mode, in this case, of the bike.
It's an interesting one. It's probably a wider topic at some point, isn't it? But I kind of like which toys work better as vehicles than they do as robots or something. I don't know. But I see what you're saying. I definitely prefer a robot with vehicle bits on it than I do a vehicle with robot bits on it, if that makes sense. If you had to choose.
Yeah, well, a vehicle is the disguise mode, isn't it? And that's the one that's got to most resemble what it's resembling, what it's trying to resemble.
Hey, I've just noticed something else about these Microman ones. They don't seem to have the laser gimmick, so they're missing the cable from all the images. And it kind of makes for a much cleaner vehicle mode as well. It looks even nicer.
Yeah, that does seem to be missing the cable. Maybe they've just got the little translucent plastic sort of saw blade piece that it doesn't light up. Maybe they've stripped out the electronics. I don't know.
Some reading will have to be done post-episode.
Oh yeah, it's taken out the electronics. That's what it says on the old TF wiki. So there you go. They've got quite a bit on Microman actually.
See, I quite like the little hose, even though I don't use the electronics. I quite like the fact it's there.
Same.
It's
a
it's
nice
quite
addition.
fun having a little wire, even though I know it's probably going to break at some point.
There's something aesthetically that I think kind of works about the wire in a weird way. Like it sort of adds, even if you don't use the gimmick, it sort of adds to the look of the character a little bit.
It makes it look like he drove off from, or she in this case, drove off from the petrol station really quickly and just kind of left with the hose
It's
attached.
got the pump.
Yeah,
Hose.
stuck in the wheel.
Hose just flapping about in the breeze.
Right.
Hose rage.
Excellent. Oh, I think that's a solid choice. And
That
do
would
you
be
know,
on the front page.
it's really made me want to talk more about Generation 2 on this podcast because we haven't really done much of it and there's so much to say. I do think, obviously there's repaints, a lot of repaints in G2. Maz is pulling a face like, oh, here we go.
I'm just imagining how much you could cost our listeners by opening up the G2 can of worms.
Oh man, the thing is that there's so much G2 that just nobody talks about ever. So many toys and just new molds, and it's funny watching some of it come back for Legacy. Like they did, which one was it? They did one of the laser cycles. Not one of the laser cycles. What I'm on about?
It's the Aqua Speeder, isn't it? No, it's the Mirage repaint got done as the Formula One car with the helicopter bit on top of it.
What's he called? Jobber.
Theodore. He's called Theodore. That one.
Yeah, the guy with the stuff.
Speed turbine.
Albert.
Yeah, that's him.
Kev.
No, it's not him.
Kev.
At all.
G2 Kev. It's G2 Kev.
Racy windmill.
Sure.
Windmill on wheels.
Racy windmill. His name's Leadfoot. There you go. He's part Leadfoot, part of the Rotor Force. I knew this as well. That's the annoying thing. But it's always.
I was actually looking at buying him yesterday as well.
What, the Legacy one, the new one?
Yeah.
I think I have two brains. I have my podcast brain, which is that when I trying to think of something that ordinarily information that I would be able to kind of recall fairly quickly, I sit here going, and I really can't remember it. And then I have like my 2 a.m. brain, which is when I can't sleep for whatever reason, and all I think about is like G2 Leadfoot, for example. Do you know what I mean? And the two never seem to meet. But they did Leadfoot, and I think it's interesting watching them kind of come back to G2 because suddenly you get loads of people online that are like, Leadfoot, and it's like, did you care about this toy a minute ago? Do you know what I mean? But it's good. It's good.
It's so nice to see these characters get some sort of new versions, or even just appearances in new media. Because
Yes.
for so long, so much of the last like 20 years or so, G2 has been defined mostly by recolors. That's how people, whenever toys come back, it's always like, oh, it's a recall of the Dinobots, or it's a G2 version of Optimus Prime. That
100%.
seems to be all it is, and not all the different molds it got itself. That's
the thing.
fantastic and unique and really interesting from just a time point of view. Like, this was full of ball joints.
Yeah, 100%. And there are just so many quirky gimmicks and weird stuff in G2 that just has never really been explored. And, I think it's true that a lot of this stuff is going to come back without the gimmicks as new toys, but at least it's getting a look in.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm loving these bikes. I'm looking at the bright green Microman repaint one, and I'm looking at the Microman figure. I mean, that is a backpack for the ages that dude is carrying, isn't it? Wow.
Oh, they all have that. A lot of them do anyway. They, I think the ones that come with, the dude that comes with the Action Master Optimus repaint as well, he's got a big backpack thing like that, but they clip off.
This is undiscovered country for me. I can't wait to look into that a bit more. They look really fun.
Yeah.
Nice choice.
Nice.
Cheers, man.
Really good choice. Really good choice. Well, Maz, as and when you get into RID as opposed to Car Robots, there's a set there waiting for you as well.
Actually, since we did Machine Wars and we started looking at those flip changes, the really nice one, I think it's Windshear, that is in with Skid Z. And I've always kind of wanted a Skid Z, but I think that would be the place to start for me.
That's a great place, yeah. Yeah, Windshear's great, man, with a little crown.
Amazing, really does.
Super cool colours, yeah, definitely. Okay, well, Maz, it's actually your choice next, I think.
All right, well, I was all set to do a different G1 toy, but when it got to the recording, like literally 10 minutes earlier, I decided to change my choice. And I just have to remember that we will do more of these in future, and I can get to those other guys. But this is a toy we've already talked about on the pod somewhat extensively, and it was in the 1986 G1 episode. I'm going with Octane, Triple Changer Octane from 1986. At that point, I had probably only busted him out of the box on the same day that we did the recording of the 1986 non-movie toys. And Sixo, that was episode number...
Oof. Now you're asking.
Yep, episode number
non-movie toys. Yeah, exactly. Triple oof.
But I hadn't properly experienced it. And then I went through this whole process of trying to sticker it up and spent more time with it, did photographs of it, and wrote an article about it. So I really learnt the toy a little bit better. It has always been sold to me as the weakest of the Decepticon triple changes. It's the one that's in the same color scheme as Blitzwing, Astro Train, and it's the one that people like the least. On top of that, it's a toy which has got a large amount of chrome on it, a really, really huge amount, and it's almost always worn, which has made finding a nice specimen very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And so you just don't get round to it, and it's missing from collections as a result, unless you're willing to have like the bootleg or and stuff like that. So I finally experienced this toy this year, properly experienced it, put the stickers on, made a discovery, had to get another sticker sheet, came up with even more affection for the toy than I originally had, and something like that ultimately bonds me to a toy forever. But beside that, you got to remember, why do you collect G1 today? You don't collect it for articulation. You don't collect it to be the definitive version of a character. You don't collect it for screen accuracy. This toy, Octane, in robot mode, in truck mode, in plane mode, there's plenty there to pick apart and ridicule. And people have been doing it for years, and I, myself included. But when you look at G1 as something ancient, like this is what toys used to look like, you start appreciating it for something that isn't all of those modern parameters that you judge a toy by. You look at G1 Octane, yeah, like he's got legs, which sort of his main body ends, there's a huge gap, and then he's got his feet, which he stands on. In plane mode, there's a massive pair of truck wheels on the top of the plane.
That's the bit that kind of I always love. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. It never bothered me as a kid.
And you think about, what does it take to design this toy? Well, they had to design a toy with 3 distinct recognizable modes, and they weren't going full Metal Cybertronian at this point. It was still supposed to be an Earth mode. This is an Earth jumbo jet and an Earth tanker truck, as well as a reasonably handsome robot that's got to stand out from everything else. And you've got to be able to go between these 3 modes in a maximum of what? 7 to 8 moves? 6 moves? It's got to be super simple. And then you adorn it with stickers to give it some life. And you can't look at Octane and tell me that that doesn't accomplish that to some very, very impressive degree for its size, for its price, and for the modes that they've selected from it. I mean, tanker truck from 747 Jet. What? You know,
Yeah.
Ambitious.
Yeah, and okay,
Ambitious.
it doesn't look like the prototype. It's not an articulated lorry like the prototype looked like. It's not a Pan Am 747 with those kind of the look that it had in the prototypes. But actually, it's really fun to transform, and it's got some interesting touches to it. And let's not forget, it's got 2 honking great chrome wings that you can position in robot mode to give it a silhouette like no other.
Those that save it to me.
Yeah,
I think.
and a lovely head sculpt, a really pretty, handsome head sculpt. I think this toy is wonderful.
I absolutely love this toy. I got to tell you, like I've never understood the kind of negative opinion that sort of pervades a little bit about this guy. I had it as a kid, so it's automatically a banger toy. So that's just by default. And I never had a complaint about it as a kid. I loved it. I was like, the things like the wheel on the top of the jet, the jumbo jet. Yeah, it's ridiculous. I think I did bring this up.
You did, absolutely.
The 98 Six episode. It was episode 41, by the way, in case you're wondering.
Or Oof.
Episode 41. There you go. And it's a bit like MPO1, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
that's not.
But no, it's not. It's not really. But the wheel is a little bit egregious.
It's like landing gear. That's the thing about it as well.
Yeah.
The fact that it looks like the plane's landing gear, but on the top of the plane.
Maybe that's how he lands. You don't know.
On his back.
Yeah, he's an alien.
Lie down.
He's an
tired.
alien robot, isn't he? He's to say how he
it's
lands.
when it's landing up, yeah? Like on a roof.
Yeah, lands on the ceiling.
It's just when he comes in, he's tired after a long flight, so he lands on his back. And it's,
Well, there you are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ugh.
But, you're right. I think what I always liked about this toy is how distinct it is because, well, there are no other jumbo jets that I can think of. There are no other tanker trucks that I can think of. And it stands out for that. There's lots of tanks, isn't there, and stuff like that. And
in 86,
yeah.
In 86, there wouldn't have been we didn't have Laser Prime in 86 as like the honking great tanker truck. But yeah, another thing is that it actually comes with a gun and a shield accessory, which is not hugely common at this point. I mean, sure, you're starting to get Blur and Retgar in 1986 for the movie. But also Octane was doing that while very much sitting in the 1984-1985 stable of design. Not the movie style designs. The colors are incredible on Octane. A lot of like off-white cream, loads of chrome. And of course he's got 2 shields, really, doesn't he? He's got the wing shield, and then Sixo, you were rightfully told me to put the tanker on his arm, which it goes. And it
makes all the
fantastic.
difference.
That's how I've got him now, and yeah, I love the wing shield, very Astro Trainy, but on his arm, and that massive chrome shield. It's really pretty, and his gun is nicely molded too. It's just a very, very pretty toy. It doesn't have any business being judged by today's standards. And you liked Octane as a kid. I mean, I think for those people who go back and collect G1 now and want the thrill of an old style aesthetic, which is, very flawed, but is of its time in a way that you can appreciate it and be charmed by it. Same way people buy like tin robots and stuff like that, old toys for old toys' sake. That does it in absolute style. I think it would appeal to any G1 collector today who isn't interested in just having great toys, but wants them for a different reason other than articulation, superb transformations, and show accuracy.
It's got a very retro vibe to it. I had it as a kid and I didn't like it, but the reason is part of that changeover. When things were changing
Completely
from G1.
Understand that, yeah.
So for me, it felt so different, and like none of the modes at the time, looking forward, felt like particularly successful. Looking back now, it's different. Looking in hindsight, I'm like, oh wow, it's great, it's interesting, it's fun. As a kid, I was like, God, the plane looks awkward, the robot looks weird with those feet and legs. It looks like he's wearing jogging bottoms or like a onesie. That sort of, if you look at his feet, it's just weird.
Oh, there's plenty there, which is funny looking, yeah.
But that's what I mean. But at that time, as a kid, you're looking forward and you expecting things to get better and better, if that makes sense. And it just looked weird, and it also felt so different to what come before it at the time. Because it's all plastic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Compared to
and the
how
fake wheels as well aren't great.
Well, like Blitzwing and Astro Train are very fragile, but there was a lot of metal, and it was that point when the toys were changing. I remember I wasn't keen, and so this was very much in that category. I remember getting it and being like, oh.
Yeah.
I like the truck mode. The truck mode was the one where I thought that's the most successful.
Truck mode's definitely a standout part of it all. In spite of the robot mode arms being right there.
I know, that's
right
what I mean.
there.
There's the compromise. Also, it's got the wheels on the roof, just like the plane, just different wheels on the roof.
Again,
Yeah,
for
it does.
parking on the ceiling. What's wrong with you? I actually think the plane mode is the nicest. That's my favourite mode, the plane mode.
Really?
I really like it. Yeah, the fists are right there under the wings, but they could be the jet turbines. But
Who knows?
I think it also suffers from being a very visible downgrade from all of the pre-production versions of Octane that have surfaced in the past years. Like the chrome fists on all the catalogue pictures, you just think, well, that would be great. And those Mapes twins, who you might recognise, have that version, the Gits. So that's nice.
They've got a white one.
Yeah, they have an
white
unpainted one
prototype?
too, and they have that.
Yeah.
And then also there was the whole thing about the waist, which unlocks more of the molding and a bit of like a extra articulation. I think you can still sort of mod G1 Octane into revealing that waist section, but I've never wanted to do that. I wanted to appreciate it as its intended vintage release, not necessarily the pre-production version. But I think it suffers from the downgrades it experienced during its production phase as well in people's perception.
You can really tell, because when you look at it, the stuff like the wheels and stuff, there's a vibe where it's almost like they were trying to scale it down, like they didn't know what to do with the wheels, because they're just there, aren't they, in all the modes,
and not all of them are real.
No, but it's like, even when you look at the truck mode, you look at the back wheel, the purple and the white one, they don't look like real truck wheels, do they? I mean, it's not a real problem, but it's just a very obvious thing where everything looks slightly awkward and weird. But now I can appreciate it for that.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I do know what you mean, even though I did like it at the time. I think it's one of those where every mode has a degree of compromise, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because, as you said, Maz, you've got the jumbo jet mode with the wheel on the top.
And fists under the wings,
Fists under the wings. You've got the tanker mode, which has got the arms on the side, that a lot of people I've heard complain about that. And then you've got the robot mode, which of course got these huge wings that stick out, even whether you have them...
That's a positive.
I think so. It's a great silhouette, but whether you have them displayed to the side or to the back, it's difficult on a shelf, isn't it? Let's put it that way. And then he's got this huge jutting chest as well.
That's positive.
The legs, the feet. What's going on with those legs, man? It's just always the thing.
Feet never bothered me.
The way they flip forward, it just looks really weird. Like the shins, it's just.
He's beautiful. He's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But he is one that absolutely suffers from wear, and it's like it's exponentially worse when you get a worn one. It's not just... I mean, there are some G1 Transformers that when they've got a bit of wear, you're still okay with them. They still look really fun. Like you get a G1 Brainstorm, which has got scratches on the canopy and worn stickers, still looks great. But you get a G1 Octane, which is everything's gone purple because the chrome's come off, and it's yellowed in places. It doesn't stand up to that kind of wear visually the way a really, really nice one does. And I'm very fortunate to have that one. But even the very act of taking it out of the bubble and transforming it once ruined a factory sticker, because it's just the way it's designed. It makes me understand why it's so hard to get mint ones. There's already chrome wear on the thing. I've barely done anything with it. I just photographed it and there's already chrome wear. So it's just one of those where the stickers are in really bad locations too. Like I'm thinking about the strip stickers that go for the windows of the plane along the fuselage, because they're on 3 different sections that then slide and move against each other. And those arms and the shoulders that are in multiple steps that you have to rotate, if you do those in the wrong order, you're going to A, wreck the stickers on the wing, and B, wreck the stickers on the fuselage. So it has some really severe wear points. Luckily, I had 2 sticker sheets, so I ruined the first set. And the second set of fuselage stickers, just maybe not going to transform it a lot. But for the topic that we're talking about toys that are often just not thought about, but today you would really appreciate, I think G1 Octane qualifies very much.
Yeah, for sure. I'm going to say something slightly sacrilegious, which is that I think, as you may know, I accidentally acquired a KO of this toy before acquiring a legit version.
Right.
And it was a complete accident because it was, mislabeled, and it was one of those where I genuinely saw it, and the price was obviously too good to be true and all of that. And but I gave it a punt and it didn't work out, and it's one of those. But actually, I ended up keeping it because I've got the legit toy as well. But the KO's actually really nice. nice. I've got to tell you. And I think some G1 KOs are, I don't use this word very often, but I'm going to use it in this case because I feel it applies. They are garbage. Some of them. That's not a word that I apply very often. Well, exactly. Yeah, you've had your Sunstreaker that's falling apart and whatever else. And I've had a KO G1 Mirage before that, no. Do you know what I mean? Just no. But this is actually all right. And the reason I mention it is that the chrome on it, the tanker, the kind of shield piece, actually looks better, dare I say.
Just more durable, or do the finishes nicer on it? More
durable, yeah, and absolutely just no scuffs. It's perfect chrome. So from a purely sort of display point of view, it looks great, honestly. So I don't know, maybe an option for something. If people kind of can't find a legit one and they don't mind subbing it out for a KO piece, just something to kind of consider at least. I can't vouch for all the KOs out there, but certainly the one I have is good.
And if you are someone who likes a bit of Transformers history, then with the one sticker sheet that comes with the toy, it is possible, or even with a toy hack set, it is possible to recreate the way Octane looks on his box, the prototype. Even though some of the stickers don't make sense, like the tanker has a little space on it, and the prototype filled that with one of the stickers. It doesn't follow the pattern of the stripes on the tanker, but it just looks great to fill that spot with the sticker. And just recreating that and making the little sticker on the tail fin fill out the entire tail fin, as opposed to this tiny little square of a sticker that the instructions tell you to use, it makes a real difference to the way that toy looks. And it's just a fun thing to do. It's like a project, and I enjoyed it deeply.
Of course, if you want it to be really authentic to the box, then you need to get yourself a vintage Kodak box,
mate,
to display him on top of.
I'm not going to lie, I did do an eBay search when I was photographing. It's like, can I get a vintage Kodak box to do in the photos? It just didn't happen in the end.
It'd be
but
hilarious.
That would have been so fun.
I still love that little nugget that just you can see the Kodak box. It's even on the box, isn't it?
Yeah.
Octane's box.
Absolutely.
There.
Yep.
It's just absolutely brilliant. So just classic Generation 1, that. So gotta love it. Good choice, man.
Excellent choice.
Well, I think it's over to me, and I'm going to follow that up with an absolute god tier toy.
Yes.
And you can see what it is here. It's G1 Slapdash,
yes.
Which is just brilliant,
yes.
honestly. And firstly, it's worth saying I had this toy as a kid, so it's automatically an outright banger, much as Octane was. And so, just by default, it's already great. Now, I understand, because I mentioned this before we hit record, and Maz, you said, oh, is this like a hidden gem? Because Few did a video on it. And so, of course, it's become...
Yeah.
It's sort of been maybe more in the spotlight than perhaps...
Like Liam says, you're just hanging onto his coattails now.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Well, Few made it happen now, didn't he? So that's it. Everybody's gone out and bought this, I assume, on the back of a Few video. But he made a good choice to do a video on it, because it's a incredible toy.
That's what that toy is. It's a toy that nobody really thinks about ever. Then you happen across one and you get this moment of discovery. It was like, this is an amazing toy.
Yeah, 100%. I remember this very fondly as a child. It's one that sat with me incredibly well in memory. And when I came back to it as an adult, I was like, kind of took on a whole new tier of appreciation for just how creative it is. There's lots of things as a kid that you don't necessarily kind of pick up on. And one of those was definitely just how creative this thing is and how many options there are with it as well. Yep. I mean, it's worth saying that, yes, it's a Power Master, so you can't transform it in theory without the engine, unless you jam your thumb in there. And then you really can transform it without the engine. The engine's name is Lube, by the way, which I'm sorry, but come on, that's just automatic greatness right there. One of the rudest names in G1 history. Brilliant. And so, that's great. And so you stick Lube in and then you're away. And just the transformation is...
Oh, God.
So this is the one transformer you do have to lube up before.
Yes, you'd have to lube him up. Yeah, you'd have to lube him up to get him flexible. Absolutely. But yeah, no, the transformation is like nothing else. I've never seen another transformer convert in the same way that this thing does.
It's terrific.
I mean, how would you even describe it?
Exploding. You explode it, basically.
I've never owned one.
You fold out everything to have the wheelbase and just the wheelbase, and then you put it back together another way.
That's the thing. So, like, the bit here on the back of his legs is sort of the bit that brings it all together. It's like this massive arm that runs from his lower back to like the top of the sort of the sort of middle bit of the car almost, and the whole thing kind of flips round on itself. And the arms do something funky as well. It's almost one of the more complicated G1 toys of its era, particularly that kind of 87, 88, 89 era,
For sure.
where things were kind of more simplified. And I just love it. And I think the colour scheme is amazing.
It is, yeah.
That is gorgeous.
Great colours.
Very Renault F1. Love it.
Right.
It's very of its era as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
The colour scheme. It's that blue and yellow, very early 90s, late 80s.
It absolutely is, yeah. It's it's quite similar to Punch, I guess, but like a lighted blue, kind of got almost highbrow blue to it, and kind of Punch's yellow, which is just gorgeous. But it feels very distinct from a lot of G1 toys from the era as well, because where they're like a lot of kind of made up cars and spaceships and things like this is an actual distinct real world vehicle.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not got enough nice things to say about it, really.
It's the many options you have for what to do with the engine, and then the Power Master engine, and then like the grey spoiler bit and the gun as well. It's like it's all attachable in both modes, which is just really fun.
I love that. So so you can have the engine piece on his chest, the engine block, or you can put his Power Master engine in on the chest instead. That just unclips and kind of comes out, and then you can put this yellow bit, the yellow engine, in on his backpack. In this kind of grey sort of spoiler section, or the spoiler section comes out as a kind of shield thing.
Oh, that's one I haven't tried.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does anyway, from memory. And you're right, you can stick the gun on his arm as well, because there's they're actually screw holes. It's not like today with the old, peg holes and things, but he's not, like a siege boy. Yeah. But this is just a design that equally has never been updated to my knowledge. There's never been a new toy of this guy, right?
No.
I don't think so. It's one that people usually say we need to get a new Slapdash or we need it from this toy or that toy. Because also his F1 silhouette is pretty unique, right? With the way the wheels end up, sort of the way Jazz's G1 wheels end up, kind of perpendicular.
Top of the shoulders.
Yeah, it's a really nice look. And it affords him quite a bit of posability, I suppose, in the forearms and the shoulders.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, he's actually got double hinged elbows, which is mad to say on a G1 toy, but you can really kind of pose him quite a bit. And his shoulders fan out a little bit to the sides as well, which is cool. I think definitely, as you said, Maz, one of the biggest things for me is just the different looks, because he looks so distinct. I love the way the Power Master engine is on his chest, but also the fact that you can have his regular engine on there as well. And you can have his regular engine as a little shield also, which is cool.
It is quite incredible. Like, he's an Autobot car, but he's so unique and individual looking that it doesn't look anything like any of the other Autobot cars at all, the way that Robo Mode transforms.
Yeah. No, it really is entirely distinct. It's one of the more unusual toys of the era that I can honestly think about. There isn't really much that kind of touches it or that you can kind of compare it to. It's just so bizarre. And you're right about the wheel silhouette, Maz. I actually really dig that he's got two big wheels on his hips. Love that he's got a very purposeful hip skirt.
Yeah.
I have, because it's the front spoiler, which I just think looks incredible.
Because it's not done like other Formula One cars. It's not just part of the nose cone folded down over his chest. It's kind of sticking up backwards because you have to flip it round, don't you, to make it look that way.
And it's so obviously in place that it works. It actually looks like a proper kind of hip skirt that feels purposeful, as opposed to, like some toys, modern toys, they just have hip skirts that flip up for like articulation or whatever. This looks like an actual sort of piece of armor almost. It's, I don't know, all the car parts kind of adorn him in a really interesting way. I just think incredible.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. So does the Power Master go into the chest and then the engine block goes over it?
No. One or the other.
One or the other, yeah. One or the other.
And the cool thing is when you've got the grey shield bit on his back and then you attach the yellow regular engine on his back, you can then attach the gun to the yellow engine.
Yes, and he can. Yeah, he's actually got weapon storage on his back in robot mode.
And car mode.
And in car mode.
Where does the Power Master engine go otherwise then?
Well, he doesn't. That's the thing. I mean, he just goes in the chest. Otherwise, you can't slot him anywhere else. But that's Power Master engines for you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if you think of Getaway or Joyride or even Optimus, they're either stuck into the engine slot or they're out, aren't they? So and this is the same as that. It just happens to be that you've got more options with the other stuff. So if you, I think the great thing is because it's on his chest, if you've got lube out and about, Can't believe I just
We
said
all,
that.
as we all do.
Yeah, I mean, just all over the place, really. Just wall to wall lube. If that's
Bit slippy around there.
yeah, indeed.
Slippery around wet.
Wow,
Nice. Nice
very good,
reference.
Liam. Dear oh dear, gonna stick a bit of Bon Jovi on in a minute. But yeah, if you've got lube out, there's no other way I can say that, really, is there? Then you can put the other yellow engine block in, and of course it's sort of because otherwise his chest does look a little bit
Yeah,
empty.
it's super plain otherwise, yes.
Yeah, but you really need the grey spoiler piece for this toy as well. Otherwise, the vehicle mode looks very incomplete.
Very much agree. But it is one of those where if you've got the car mode and you just give it a cursory evaluation, it looks really Duplo-y. If you just look at the vehicle mode, and say, oh, that doesn't have
It does.
It doesn't have the elegance of G1 Mirage, with the chrome and the scale and everything like that. But you would really be selling it short. And unfortunately, that is how I judged toys like this in Joyride for years. And then you get it in hand, and then you realize what an experience it is and how ingenious it actually is, and how good it looks in robot mode. You completely revise your estimation of what a good transforming toy it is.
I think that's a totally fair estimation. I mean, would it be nice if this thing had loads of chrome on it, like a chrome spoiler that kind of became, the on the waist and stuff? Yeah, it would be awesome, but it doesn't. And it's fine without it, actually. Like, it doesn't... It's sort of got a durability and a playability to it that actually it probably wouldn't have if it had some more chrome and things like that. Would it be nice if it had rubber tyres? Yes, but again, it doesn't. So
yeah, all those things that won't wear over time instead.
Exactly. Yeah. Which is why it is possible to find this guy in, I would say, pretty decent nick. Like, I think it does yellow a bit. I have seen a couple with like the blue, it's a bit faded or discoloured or whatever. And, obviously you can lose bits on it and the stickers get knackered, but it's not really a lot that you could do to it. I guess there's the Power Master mechanism, which could get chewed up. So, but it's not like Darkwing, where that toy really struggles because of the Power Master mechanism.
Yep.
It's not really as fragile as many of the other Power Masters, I would say.
No, solid example of why Power Masters, and not necessarily because of the gimmick, but just the Power Master range of Transformers are so good. It's a sparkling example. Something that looks simple, but really isn't.
Yeah, 100%. It looks like it would transform in 2 steps, doesn't it? It really just looks like you just flip it over and you're done. And actually, it's so much more than that.
Yeah, but I think Getaway and Joyride are the same. Every time you think that that's all there is to them, there's another twist, another flip, another turn.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Joyride is the most simple, I think, overall.
But even then, people always have the chest upside down because they don't realise that turns too.
Yeah, they give them a little pot belly, don't they? So, but yeah, they're all great toys. I love all 3 of those toys so much. Yeah. And, can't say enough nice things about them. It just happens to be that Slapdash was the one that I had as a kid and now look on very fondly. So,
man, he is glorious. That's one I'm gonna have to get.
Yeah,
that shot up your list, is it?
Must have G1. It is, and if you've never had it before, I consider you even luckier than someone who had it before, because it just means you've got that experience waiting for you, and it's a finite experience. G1 toys you've never discovered, which do something you weren't expecting, and this is the poster boy for that.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. My only downside with this toy, and it's a silly thing, is that there aren't Japanese repaints.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, brilliant point. Yeah,
gutted because the Japanese version Ranger of what's his
Joyride.
Joyride. Thank you.
He's lovely.
Is so nice and so different, and having the 2 of them together is really quite a thrill. I would love to see repainted versions of Slapdash and Getaway. I just think it would be. And Hosehead, and Hosehead, absolutely. Just imagine like Getaway in like jet black or something like that, like really different.
Just stop right there. Stop talking about stuff we can't have. It's so nice. Just don't.
It'd be so nice. Imagine a Slapdash in like red, for example, or something. Wow. Just like, red and white.
Yeah, exactly. In McLaren, Ayrton Senna's McLaren F1 colours, just like the little Micromaster you get in 6 Turbo. Those colours on the Slapdash.
Oh, John Player's special colours.
Oh, that.
Yeah. Black and gold.
Yeah, just quickly before we move on from this guy, I have just noticed, and I'm going to drop this in the chat as well, I've just discovered a picture of Slapdash online, and someone stowed the little Power Master in the backpack there.
Yeah, actually, do you know what? I didn't bring that up earlier, but
that's why one of the things I was going to ask about when wondering where it goes.
Right. So I'm just going to try this out. It works. It blooming works. I didn't even know.
I knew it. Should have said.
I assume that's what you were going to say when I said, does it fit in with the engine block? I was going to say, oh no, he's going to say it goes in the back.
It does. It goes in his backpack.
Yeah.
Look at that. So you got lube in the back there as well.
Confirmed best Autobot Power Master.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Honestly, that is. I'm not even going to lie. That's legitimately blown my mind because now you can have the yellow engine on his front and lube up his backside, I guess.
And the only place we can go from here is sponsors.
That's the perfect place to end it. That's perfect.
Moving on. Moving on.
That's brilliant.
The Transformers will return after these messages.
Oh, jeez.
Well, I'm just going to go straight into it. Welcome to our sponsor segment. Liam's already mid-hilarity, so pull it together, Liam. No fidgeting.
I'm perfectly still.
Is that your serious face?
This is how I sit when I'm on a plane.
Right, okay. Maz just made an epic joke, which was far too good, and Liam's already all aflutter.
Look for it in the outtakes.
Right, indeed. Yeah. If you get on our Patreon, you'll get the outtakes. Now, we are here to talk about our sponsors, and tonight that is tfsource.com. And what we're going to do, which we always do, is take a look at what they've got up for pre-order and in stock right now, and then just talk about it, basically. So, first of all, we just had a little squiz around, didn't we, and sort of saw what we caught our eye. And I think all of us were a bit taken with Fans Hobby MB23 Destroyer.
Yeah, Liam joins the lobby.
I'm not part of the Fans Hobby lobby, but this one's pretty.
Yeah, you can be in the lobby, man. You can be an honorary member for the night.
It's the plane that's not plain.
There we go. Yeah, I think it looks terrific, honestly.
When painted.
Still laughing about it, honestly. Still laughing.
Oh, God. It's brilliant.
Wasn't that funny?
It was.
Okay. This is really good. Fans Hobby have been on a bit of a roll recently, but it's kind of great, I think, actually, to see them. I've really enjoyed seeing what they do with like Unicron trilogy stuff. It's kind of great to see them go back and still be doing some of the kind of Master Force-y G1 stuff as well. I really appreciate that because no one else is touching that stuff really. So this is quite exciting to see because it's, well, for a lot of Western fans, it's Dreadwind. For those of you that like Master Force, it's Buster. And technically this is because Buster colours, isn't it? With the red wings and everything.
And that's the thing, people can't really get the vintage version of this toy without shelling out huge money, so it's a really, really nice alternative.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. The vintage toy is beautiful. And
I wouldn't know.
This looks great. This looks great. I'm not saying anything, but maybe I have it. I don't know.
I have the Kabaya versions, and those two are also lovely. Not
Which
quite
ones? The Kabaya ones. Yeah, cool.
Well, they combine as well. Really,
do they?
really clever little sets, yeah.
Oh, I'll have to check into that. I got a couple of Kabaya bits recently. I'm absolutely loving that stuff. But yeah, this looks great. The only thing I would say is that, of course, they've got pictures of the unpainted test shot on here as well. And initially I was like, oh, the colours are kind of strange. Like they're a little bit, feels like it's missing a few colours there. And then I realised, of course, that...
Did you say it was a bit plain?
It's a little bit plain, yes, indeed. Yeah.
Just get him laughing every time.
Brilliant.
Right. How many times is he going to laugh at the same joke?
Unpredictable, if nothing else.
Reliable. Let's say
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
I think this looks great. And talking of Power Masters, which we were just before we went for the old advert break, I just think it's phenomenal. Look at that jet mode with the paint on it.
Yeah.
As much as that jet mode looks super swish, it's the differences made in robot mode. It's like the grey paint around the blue canopy has made such a difference to the product shots from the unpainted one. And just what they've done with the face have really brought those details out. That's a really good looking toy, and I wasn't massively into it when they were showing off the unpainted
It doesn't look like the same toy. That's how much the paint does for it.
Significantly different. I must admit, I had been interested in this because I really like the characters. I can't wait to see. I'm sure they will do a Dreadwind version as well, no doubt, because Fans Hobby are very reliable with repaints and stuff, so that'll be great to see. But yeah, this is the most interested I've been in it, is seeing those full colour shots.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
So absolutely cannot wait for that one. That's up for pre-order right now on tfsource.com.
I look forward to seeing both of your photos of it.
You can count on it.
Absolutely. I definitely will be checking this out, 100%. I can't wait to see it with their other one, whatever it's called, as well, and seeing them combine.
With countless Energy Commander trailers in the background, mate. I guarantee.
Right, indeed. What else is on there that we've seen?
Just briefly, I spotted another third-party figure, and it's just because of the green and the yellow, it really drew me to it. It's called Trojan Horse. It's TH01 Hurricane, Actually, it's probably by a Trojan horse, or maybe it is a Trojan. Yeah, manufacturer Trojan horse. Toy is called TH01 Hurricane, and it looks like Waspinator as a helicopter. It looks amazing. Like the robot mode looks amazing, and then the helicopter is just glorious. It's beautiful, and it has those amazing purple translucent windows, which is nothing. You can't go wrong with that color of window. And this looks really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
The purple windows is what really makes it. And the fact that it's on the eyes, on the head sculpt as well.
Oh, that's good.
Little bug eyes.
Yeah, this could really be worth checking out. It's got really nice... We've just been talking about toys that are really fun to handle in alt mode, like you were talking about Road Rocket and Slapdash and Octane. This has almost got that same vibe with how well they've preserved the shape of the helicopter cockpit on the chest. It just looks really fun.
I do like the product photo there of the crotch.
Just literally a crotch shot, isn't there? Just
why?
Random gratuitous crotch shot.
Who thought, it's going to sell this toy? Close up of the crotch.
Yeah, well, it's very nice. What can you say?
Know the market.
Oh my goodness.
Indeed.
I hadn't spotted that. But I think they're trying to show off the pistons and the stuff on play, but no.
The crotch pistons. Yeah.
Slightly gratuitous.
Guys, come on. That's the Trojan horse part.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Trojan horse, not any other reason.
Get lube back.
And otherwise, the only other thing that's really caught my eye, I guess, on here is, and it's a new arrival, but is the Holiday Optimus Prime, which I got to tell you, I just got in last week or so, and it's phenomenal. Honestly, like I really am blown away by this thing. To the point where I feel like a lot of people slept on it because of the holiday deco, the kind of Christmas theme. And Liam, you've got it as well, I know.
Yeah, I love it. It's fantastic, man. It's so much fun to mess with. And obviously it looks like Santa Claus. It's cool.
Yeah, with his like brightly coloured candy cane.
Yeah.
Rocket
under the truck. It's all a bit suggestive tonight, isn't it? This is kind of running theme.
Did you notice that his faceplate is painted white as well?
I did notice.
Santa's beard. It's very clever, because the rest of his face is silver.
Oh, man, do you know what? That hadn't even occurred to me that was why it was. Yeah. I'd seen that he's got white paint on it, and I was like, huh. But that hadn't even occurred to me. I love his little belt buckle and stuff like that. It's very, very clever design.
The transformation is amazing. It's so unlike any other Optimus Prime toy that you get now, because they're all very standardised, slightly different, but this is completely different.
I think the fact that it ends up with the head in the kind of truck bed, and the fact that his chest folds up to be the rear of the truck cab, it's like another Slapdash. It just kind of does things that are just like totally unexpected along the way, and the result is exceptional. Yeah. So, total recommend from me, basically.
And before we go, can we just give a quick shout out to this Planet X Mithridates?
Oh, the Perceptor, the Black Perceptor.
Yes, this is a repaint of their. I think it was called Asclepius, the red one, the original. And it's Perceptor as he appears in the Fall of Cybertron, War of Cybertron games, where it's some kind of mad science tank thing. And it just looks cool. It's got so many weapons.
What's he carrying? It looks like briefcase guns.
It's just more guns. It's like guns stacked on guns.
It's like really something. That's a heck of a look. Really good looking.
Yeah, it's amazing. Those designs, they do need to come back.
Instead of a scope on his shoulder, he's just got Megatron's fusion cannon instead.
Yep, it's crazy. But I love the fact he's still got the little dials, the little microscope dials on his arms.
How many guns does this thing have?
This is the thing, man. These designs need to come back, the Fall of Cybertron designs, because they're cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's weird.
Great. Well, that's what you can find on tfsource.com right now. So do check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs. And thank you, as ever, to them for sponsoring the pod.
We now return to the Transformers.
Right, well, let's get back to our hidden gems. We've already done the kind of vintage segment, and now it's, I was going to say modern toys, but not really, because I know in my case, it's not really a modern toy at all. But Liam, why don't you kick us off, see what you've got for us? It's a bit of a mystery, actually, so I'm quite looking forward to this.
Mine's an obvious one. I've spoke about it so many times on this podcast, and to the point where I had to double check to see if I'd spoke about it on the last time we did one of these Ice Gem episodes. So I've gone with Generation Select's Super Megatron.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, hidden gem. That one. Yeah, really under the radar.
People do not talk about this toy enough,
except
and I had to get it exactly. So I need to get it out of my system in this episode now. Otherwise, I'm always just going to keep coming back and why don't I do it this time? So I'm getting it out of the way. That's why it's here. It's great. Everyone should own it. I don't understand why it's just sort of slipped by everybody. It's amazing.
I can tell you why in my case. All right. The base toy for that is Titans Return Galvatron, which, unlike most people, I actually kind of liked. But it's I didn't see how it would translate to Megatron, and then the Super Megatron character, I've never really given too much of a monkey's about. It's just it's not a highly prominent character in any of the fiction I've really enjoyed. So certainly for that reason, I didn't really think I had anything that fit with it either, because it's like super hyper Japanese reference. That is.
It really is. It's from Battlestars, isn't it? Which is like an anime pages basically in a magazine. I must admit I loved the look of this when it came out, and I even wrote a couple of articles about it that were sort of hyping it up and that, because I really did love the look of it. And I guess I slept on it only because, like you said, Maz, it came down to the wire, and I was like, what does it fit with? Do you know what I mean? And that's why I sort of didn't go for it. But looking at it again now, I'm like, yeah, okay. Because I randomly thought about this toy probably like a week ago and was like quite intrigued by it. So
So the Galvatron, not a fan. It wasn't a great mod at all. But this, it's like reinvigorates a mold. It's completely different, but still the same. And it's so weird because it feels like a different toy. But you can see parts of Galvatron still in it, like the legs and stuff like that. But it's so much more posable. It looks completely different. It's got so many new features. Like his chest can rotate to be a different chest. They've replaced the headmaster with a new head, which has got that little rotating bandana thing, which is from the manga. But also he's got a rotating face, and I think it's based on one of those, the live action movie, which is the one where he beats up the fish.
Last Night. With the mask that kind of There's a Megatron doesn't beat up a fish, but a fish is beaten up in a
Cogman, does it?
It's old Cogman.
Oh, John
Cod
Cogman.
Assault.
Yeah, John Cogman.
It should be Codman because he beats up the fish.
Codman.
Old Codman.
Why fish, Master Wayne? Because fish frighten me. Time my enemies shared my dread.
Dear, oh dear.
Wow. This is like the Transformers the movie episode, but with the Last Night in Sixo.
Oh, it's more coherent than the Last Night, isn't it? Let's be fair.
But yeah, it's an astonishing toy, and the fact it's got the alternate face is just crazy. It's just, they've gone to such a crazy extra level with it. Like, it's got this whole new cannon that opens up, it folds out, there's extra guns inside of it, and you can turn it into a tank and a jet, and they both look alright. They both look like they should look.
That's the thing. I couldn't tell you what the alt modes are. Like, from memory, I have no recollection of its alt modes. It kind of puts me in mind of the MMC IDW Megatron they did a little bit.
It's a super vague space jet thing and super vague space tank thing.
That sounds like a name they would give a toy line, isn't it? Transformers Super Vague.
Yeah.
Super vague.
That's what it is. But it's just like, I don't know, so much of this for me is, it looks great, but I was never a fan of that Galvatron toy. But picking this up, I can't believe it was the same thing. Even though I can see bits that were, it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't move like it. It doesn't handle like it. And it's so much fun. And it just looks like an amazing version of Megatron, because his generation's toys, there's always something where you're like, it's not quite... It's not that thing where it's not a gun, but he never seems to settle into like a real, I don't know, sort of perfect version of him. But this just looks cool. It just looks like what a crazy futuristic space Megatron should look like.
So it doesn't have any of the sort of hollow feel.
No.
Does it feel significant?
Yeah. I'd say it feels weightier, but then I can't really remember what it felt like. But all the spaces are filled in, except in the forearms, where his hands still have to go. But like the chest, it all opens up and it flips around. But even that feels thick and substantial.
That alternate face is really something, isn't it?
The alternate face is amazing. Honestly, I love that it's a reference to the old Last Night. Actually, as much as the Last Night is a big pile of gubbins, I still think the designs of that are really cool, and I love that they've referenced that on this toy. If indeed that's what it is, it must be, right? Because it's got the little horns and all of that kind of stuff. It must be the reference.
Yeah. I'm sure that's what they said it was. But it's got like the little rotating bandana as well. They're two separate pieces, so you can have the bandana in either version with either face.
Oh, it's tempting. I'm not going to lie.
But it's amazing because like the Galvatron wasn't really fun to pose. He was really awkward to pose.
It was awkward, yeah.
But those parts are the same, like the legs and the arms. So it should be like that, but it's not. It poses so much better. There's just something about it. It's fantastic. And yes, all these new parts. And I don't know. I've always quite liked the Battlestars design. It's one of the first things I saw on like the TF Wiki in the old days. It's like, what on earth is that?
I really like all the Battlestars designs. I think the artwork and stuff from that era is incredible. Like, it's really kind of a hidden gem all by itself, really, that whole sort of era. People know like Star Convoy and things like this. Yeah. And I just love that they did this thing. I think that's what I sort of admire about it most of all, is that they took this design that only existed in drawings and made a toy of it after so many years. I think that's incredible.
Comes completely out of left field. Like, it's like, how? Who went, you know what? That would make a great Super Megatron. But it works. And like every piece is movable, so it's not like they just slap the parts on. They can all be, ultimately configured to look different for whatever you want, for different modes, because he's got like the 2 different robot modes, obviously, so all the parts can move and adjust. But it's just filled with potential. And I think on the TF Wiki they mentioned it's got like a ridiculous amount of peg holes in it, because just so it's compatible with everything that's ever existed ever.
Does it transform at all like Galvatron?
No.
This is a real hang-up for you, isn't it?
No, I liked the Galvatron, but I think it's amazing that it's based on it. It doesn't even the feet don't come together the same way that.
I'm trying to remember how Galvatron went, because it's been so long. Because he turns into a weird jet, doesn't he?
A weird jet.
That's being kind.
The cannon. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got little treads that fold out of the back of his heels. Did Galvatron have those?
No, not as far as I know. The feet just sort of came together, I think, or maybe there was pointing out in one. I don't know. Let's just stop comparing them, because this looks so different. It's
way different. It really is like a redemption story for that mold, because what this does is it makes you wonder, like, was I wrong about that mold? Or then it makes it such a shame that Galvatron mold wasn't great or well received, because it just, you're like, it could have been this, and obviously it is this. But I mean, why couldn't we have got a Galvatron that's as fun as this out of that? It's amazing. I'd recommend it to everybody.
Great shout. Really, I mean, I've got to tell you, it's tempting. It's tempting.
Do it.
Yeah,
do it. It's so unique as well. There's nothing else like it. You're not going to own it. You're not going to own another Megatron that looks like this.
I think it's, as well, thinking about it now, like, I know that I said what I said earlier about, I didn't get it because what does it go with? I'm kind of thinking about it now. What does it need to go with in a weird way? Like, sometimes cool toys just sort of exist in a vacuum, don't they? And maybe that's what this is.
It's not expressly like a Generations Megatron either. It's just a Battlestar style Megatron. So it stands completely on its own as its own unique, interesting thing.
I can understand that completely. I mean, I bought the PlayStation Optimus. It doesn't go with anything in either mode, but as a standalone, it can be enjoyed as whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. I'm well into this. Funnily enough, Liam, when you Google Generation Select Super Megatron,
his picture, isn't it?
And go to Google Images, it's all your photos.
It's because nobody else talks about it. It's just me shouting from a hilltop on my own like an old man.
Yeah, I was going to say, actually maybe proving the fact that this is a hidden gem after all, because it's only Liam's photos out there on the internet and the official product shots.
It doesn't get the love it deserves, and I don't know why. I genuinely can't fathom it, because it's such a great toy, but it's also, you'd think like the character, like Super Megatron, would be something that people were, whoa, that's cool. Like it would be the most popular toy of a month or something, but it just seemed to sail past.
There was a lot of hype about it on release, and then I think just nobody bought it, but it was probably a little bit pricey, as I recall, like when it was first released. Is that right?
I'm not sure. I was very lucky that Andy from Kapow gifted me this one. So
right.
Yeah. But I think it was quite expensive because it's a Cara toy as well. So it was,
and a Generation Selects,
Yeah.
I seem to recall that was the kind of roadblock for a lot of people, if you like, was the price. Yeah. But maybe that's just my
I think when the initial photos were shown, I remember people were like blown away. But then after that, it just maybe it was the price. Maybe that was an element of it.
M.A.S., what have you got for us?
Ooh.
Right, this was a very hard choice. I remember, and I've actually picked something I don't own anymore. Arms Micron Wild Rider is a toy that loads of people talk about, and it gets a lot of attention, loads of photos, still quite desirable. I've gone for AM23 Arms Micron Wheeljack as my hidden gem for a lot of reasons. Now, I was handed the Transformers Prime Wheeljack by Paul Hitchens on the day we went to see Age of Extinction at the IMAX. He brought it out. We went to see it together at IMAX, and he brought that, and he said, "I challenge you to hate this toy." And Less than 2 months later, I had every version of that toy, and bootlegs, and oversized bootlegs, and the small, like, Cyberverse kind of class of that toy.
Oh my god, I've just seen your picture of the lineup of all of them.
It's a thing, isn't it? I mean, there are some totally wacky ones, but I mean, the Wild Rider is really stunning, like really beautiful, grey, red windshield and all the rest of it. But the Wheeljack is the most plain. It is completely plain. It is totally white with zero adornments. And they've removed all the red and green paint detail of the Prime toy, and they've whacked on 5mm ports on the hood to sort of spoil the car silhouette as well. But I'll tell you why I love this thing. I think it's all the elements that I love in Transformers, especially vintage Transformers, rolled into one release. When you get the Arms Micron Wheeljack, in the box is the car completely plain. Now, what does that remind you of? Diaclone Wheeljack, G1 Wheeljack, totally plain white because you haven't put any stickers on it. And it comes with a sticker sheet. And the sticker sheet for the Arms Micron one, they're all foil stickers. So the sticker detail all ends up metallic, unlike the painted matte Prime toy. Now, I've heard these stickers are a right pain to put on. I haven't done it myself. I didn't do that. But so it comes with a sticker sheet and a totally white car. It reminds me of Diaclone. And then it comes with this Target Master, which Target Masters are great. That's the Arms Micron bit. It's a little Micron dude. Looks a bit like a gorilla. And he turns into a bizarre sword-like box. But it's a snap-together model kit. So you take it off the sprues, snap it all together, and then he's got this weapon. And this mold, can I tell you, is one of the most excellent transformations ever on a toy. Now, Fancy Dan went and bought this, and he hated it. And I think he's the only one in the world who doesn't like it. And he was really vociferous about it. But when you transform the legs on this toy, it is pure G1. Pull and click, turn, flip, click, and it's a fantastic transformation the way this toy comes together.
The little flip on the inside of the shin.
Yeah, that's
excellent.
And then you got to pull it down as well. It's just it's so satisfying. And then when you go back to car mode, you line everything up, and then you just go click, 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 and everything just snaps into place in this perfectly.
How's it go?
Click, 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 click.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
It goes click, 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 click. No, sorry, I'm not doing that voice again. A beautiful.
You're gonna do it every time.
I've got to do the patron shout out in that voice. It's a wicked car mode as well. It seems to be an amalgam of two Lancia Stratos concept cars of years later, according to TF Wiki, and it just is so Wheeljack, but not like the racing Wheeljack with the spoilers and everything, but the rally car Stratos. This is a great toy, man. It's so pretty. It's a great gorilla Wheeljack. It's got extra gorilla arms. Really cool wings that fold out, and they kind of then form the top of the roof, the vents. Yeah. Amazing transformation, like genuinely amazing. Real great posability, great ankle tilt on him as well.
Love the car mode.
Car mode's excellent. The flushness of that when it comes together is great. And I like the Arms Micron because of all the little nods to throwbacks to stickers and snap together kits, and a Target Master as well, and then this super clean look when you unbox it for the
Little
first
Arms
time.
Micron he comes with, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get that Wild Rider is the one that everyone really likes because it's got the G1 Wild Rider head, really cool purple metallic stickers, red windshield, and it's like a Tommy gun grenade launcher Micron, but Wheeljack is the one I want to draw the attention to.
But, so, I'm just wondering here, so does this qualify as a hidden gem? Because that mold was really popular. Like, I loved it, it's great, but like, this is a very tenuous definition of a hidden gem until
you two quibbling each other's choices, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like you came at me, I'm coming right back at you.
Yeah, I really struggled with what to do for hidden gem. Well, even Bisque from last time is hardly hidden. It's just that most people don't buy RID 2015, so they wouldn't have experienced it. But I maintain that I bet loads of people have never experienced the Arms Micron versions of these toys.
I think you just get a pass on that Arms Micron version there.
And especially it not being Wild Rider as well, or the Chrome Dome or something like that.
I would have thought the Wild Rider would have been the hidden gem version.
No,
that's the one
everywhere.
people don't.
I don't think so, no. Even Dead End, like the Hasbro Dead End.
Halloween one.
Yeah, the mad
pumpkin
one. Yeah. I think it's this one because it's so epically plain when you take it out. But it reminded me of a Diaclone Wheeljack, like totally clean. Really clean. It just needs you to fill in the rest.
It is a fantastic mold. I still find parts of it when I go to Emily's brother's because I gave it to her nephew when he was younger. And, the legs and arms on that thing, like bits of it just fall off, don't they?
86 movie accurate Wheeljack.
Yeah. But like, I think that design of Wheeljack is one of my favorites,
Yep.
and I think that's an amazing update to what a Wheeljack would look like, a modern Wheeljack. It's fantastic. It looks like the original. All the hallmarks are there, but new, modern, and interesting.
And the Arms Micron Wheeljack is one of the only ones to come with its Hasbro style weapons too. So it's got the 2 katana blades that store
It's got the
brilliantly
swords,
underneath the car. Yeah, and can be put in sheaths behind his back. It's so
Yeah.
good.
I always love the way that the roof folds, you know, and you get the
Yeah.
smaller chest out of it, and that
Yes.
little extra panel that comes
Yep.
underneath. It's so clever, and there's wings
Supreme.
on the back. Like the second you mention it, I was like, "Oh, there's wings."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sixo, you got to experience this toy. It is way out.
Have you never had it before?
No.
Oh wow! Have you
must
seen the
get
Chrome
this.
Dome version?
Oh,
No,
mate.
none of them. No.
It's IDW Chrome Dome.
Yeah. Contrary to popular belief, I haven't experienced every Transformer ever. So,
Yes.
and this is definitely, this whole era really is completely untouched as far as I'm concerned. Anything after, pretty much anything after Unicron trilogy for me now. I mean, some early Chug toys, like obviously we've looked at Henkei and stuff, animated, which a little bit, but anything after that, not really. Do you know what I mean? Like I just don't know them. And so this is like totally off the table for me in terms of knowledge. I mean, I'm going to ask a really thick question now, but just for clarity's sake, this is then Prime Wheeljack,
Yeah,
isn't it? This
absolutely.
is the Prime Wheeljack
Yes,
toy
yes.
in a slightly different color scheme and
With
whatever else.
remolded to be able to have a 5mm peg weapon put on the hood or the legs.
Got
One on the leg.
you. Yeah, funnily enough, I just watched as you were talking about the transformation because I kind of wanted to see about it. I just on mute. I just in the background had old M.Go's video on there. I'm a big fan of M.Go videos as well. Anyway, I was sort of take every opportunity to talk them up because he does, in my mind, one of the only video reviewers that seems to be able to do a transformation on camera, and whatever part he's manipulating at that single point, he seems to be able to have it in frame at exactly the point that you want it. You know, when you watch some videos and you're like, turn the toy around, or it's like gone off camera or something. There's never any of that in his vids, and I don't know how he does it. But the transformation looks incredible.
I give you grief, but I almost went with Prime Starscream as my choice as well. So, but this is a fantastic toy, man. It really is. And at the time when it came out, it blew my mind. Like what it does, how it moves, that rattle because it's so bloody loose as well. But
I have
great
had
toy.
ones which have been loose, but I think the Hasbro one that I've kept is super tight and it poses brilliantly. But yeah, you're right. This is a very, very well-known mold. But if you just want a bit of throwback G1-ness, go Arms Micron. But I think I was told, actually, that at the time, people hated that because they hated the fact that they needed to put stickers on it, and it just didn't go down well at all. So it might be the reason why these aren't super popular or well-known. I know as I was finding out about the Arms Micron, I couldn't understand why I didn't hear more about them, because it was just all of the elements of vintage Transformers I loved with a very, very modern mold, which is a serious homage to G1.
At the time, it was because they weren't show accurate in the same way the Hasbro ones was. They didn't have the paint, so it was the stickers, but also they'd remolded it to add the ports, which just made them a little bit less aesthetically pleasing.
It's unseemly. It's unsightly on the hood
unsightly,
to have that peg.
You could find all of these for really cheap for so long as well. I don't know what they're like now.
Well, the Hasbro versions
the
are
easier
pennies
ones.
still.
Like it was always the Arms Micron versions of stuff you could find for much cheaper.
It really does look phenomenal. Honestly, I'm just kind of looking at some pictures of it, and that you're right in saying that it's a fantastic design update for Wheeljack, because the gorilla arms actually, like, it's funny because I'd never made the connection. I have seen all of the Prime cartoon, but I'd never made the connection with the fact that he has such long arms, and that's a reference to the original Wheeljack toy.
It's very Neo Geo one.
Yeah.
Neo Geo one.
Neo.
Is that because no one ever had it? It's Neo Geo.
It's just Metal Slug. But it's very Neo G1, isn't it? It's like exactly what you would hope the G1 characters would be updated to look like.
Yeah, 100%.
That style.
It's almost like if Transformers hadn't existed since 1980, whatever, and like any of these brands that they bring back now, and then they do like a modern cartoon makeover of it, and it's like it looks exactly like the old thing, but in a new animated style. That's kind of what this reminds me of in a funny way. It's almost like the whole evolution of 20, 30 years or whatever in between these two. The original toy and this didn't happen, and it's just someone just picked up the old design and drew it in a sort of a new animated style.
Yeah,
I reckon this would look great next to Siege Sideswipe. I think those two capture a really nice, like you say, Neo G1 look.
Yeah, definitely.
I got a good theory on why Fancy Dan might not be a fan of this. Because, if you just mention Transformers Prime or anything related
But
to
he
it,
likes
he's
a
not
lot.
fan.
He likes Prime toys. I think it's just this wheeljack. He hates the leg transformation, and for me, that is absolutely the highlight.
Yeah.
He hates the cartoon. Really doesn't like the cartoon, and we'll mention it when I was going to say when pressed, but or not actually. Like just randomly, we'll mention it at a moment's notice.
It's his
But
during
also,
the war, isn't it?
Yeah. But also, I know that he really doesn't like Prime Wheeljack as a character. I think it's the whole Jackie thing and all of that. He just
And the
hates all of
mouth.
that.
Wish he
And
didn't have the mouth.
And the mouth, yeah.
In the show, he has the face mask, doesn't he? Which gives him the G1 style face, the battle mask.
Yes,
But the
the
toy
battle
doesn't
mask.
have that. I think the toy has the mouth, if I remember rightly, doesn't it?
I don't recall. I don't think I ever paid attention to that part. But
I'm looking at Maz's pictures. It's got the faceplate.
It does have the faceplate. Oh, I'm gonna have to re-buy it. I love that toy.
I kept mine. I'm grateful to say I kept one version of this toy, and it's just the regular Prime one. I think it's still the one that Paul gave me and said, try to hate it. Well, I don't know. It's like 15 years later, and I'm still trying.
I'm learning a lot here. This is fantastic. So, and it's down to me, isn't it, to provide you with the final one. And I got to tell you, I went with something from Transformers Animated because I have been discovering a lot of animated toys of late and really enjoying it. And again, this is another cartoon that I saw at the time, loved it. And I love Prime as well, but never really kind of appreciated the toys at the time. I just wasn't kind of collecting them or whatever, so it's kind of a new thing for me. And funnily enough, this toy I did have on release. I think it was one that someone probably got for me as a kind of like, oh, you like Transformers, here you go type thing. Do you know what I mean? And I was kind of like, But actually, it's great. I probably didn't necessarily appreciate it to its full at the time, but it's animated Snarl.
Oh,
top choice.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's a weird one because it's not I don't know what to say about it, really. It's an unusual toy, let's say
It's
that.
slag for a start.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's not Snarl, really, in anything but name, because for anyone that kind of grew up with G1, you would think of it as Slag, or Slug, if you prefer, if that's, going by his sort of, modern title. This was kind of, I guess it was in the era when, before Slug was a thing, but post
Way
Slag.
before, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it was kind of like, well, what do we call this thing? We don't want to call him Slag. So, what's his name going to be? And they went with Snarl, but there were only 3 Dinobots in animated, so that was fine. And I don't really, I've never cared what any of these toys are called. Like, I just don't have I don't mind Slug, I don't mind Snarl, any of it, fine. But this toy is just super cool design, like really nice Triceratops mode. For me, though, again, like Slapdash, it's the transformation that makes this thing.
Yeah.
It's indecipherable, indescribable. Like, I'm sat looking at the toy now, and I know that unless I really sit and think about it, it would take me a minute or two to transform this thing, for sure. It's even little touches, like I was doing it recently, so I just reacquired this thing not so long ago, and even silly things like his tail on the back, the way that it spins round, which is kind of the final step, and it's one thing that I always forget, because I always kind of leave the tail pointing down, and then I kind of went, oh, hang on a minute, got to turn the tail, and it just makes all the difference. Or silly things like I only discovered tonight that he's got a little leg extension thing there, which makes all the difference in terms of his kind of stature and posture and everything. I absolutely love this thing.
It looks fantastic.
I really enjoyed it too, yeah. And it's for exactly the reasons you mentioned. It was a unique transformation, and it kind of bulks out into a really fun-looking robot, which is very, very unique. And that's just animated through and through, isn't it? Really unique-looking robots, full of character, and bang-on show accurate as well.
Yeah, 100% all of that. It's one of the animated designs that I think took the original, sort of turned it on its head, kept all the kind of core elements of what makes this character so distinct and so memorable and so slag, of that kind of original name, and but then updated it into something completely new. I mean, actually, versus G1 Slag, a lot of the hallmarks are completely different. That didn't have Triceratops on the chest.
No.
For robot mode.
If anything,
That's
it's
the
more
snarl wings
yeah,
as well.
exactly. I was about to say the
Yeah.
tail splitting to make wings is more snarl than anything.
It's more snarl. Yeah. It's absolutely more snarl with the tail wings. But there's something about the look of it that just works. And actually, the more and more I look at it, the more I'm like, it's not slag.
No.
Actually, like there's really nothing about it.
That's just the
that is-
Triceratops talking. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One thing
Yeah.
I always forgot about on that one was the little move to flip out the orange things on his shoulders. The sort of the flame.
the
I always
flames.
forgot to do that.
Yeah, it's actually listed on the packaging as an action feature, which is quite funny, like pop out flames or whatever. But it's not really. It's just like a little aesthetic detail, but it's a nice little extra touch. I mean, there's a couple of quirks to it. From a side or back profile, the kind of bit in the middle where his waist is looks a little bit janky. It's kind of like it's sort of this very thin piece that it's a weird silhouette. Because honestly, if you catch it at the wrong angle in a photograph or something, it's going to look odd. And
It does look like he's wasting away.
right, a little bit plain, perhaps. Liam.
Yes.
Oh dear. But yeah, and like at his sort of top half, there's a few kind of gaps and bits like that in it. But still, it always gives me the feeling of like a huge hulking bot. Like the presence of it for such a small toy actually is quite something.
Hey, you know what he's reminded me of? The Waruda Gigantor, with the way his beast head sits on his chest and has got the horns pointing up. It's really giving me those vibes. Now, one thing, would you say that does not evoke the feeling of a Beast Wars toy? It doesn't really feel like Beast Wars, does it?
No.
So you wouldn't say it's like Man in Slag?
Oh.
Good
Dude.
Lord, Maz. Gonna get cancelled for that one. I mean,
We're going to get hate mail now.
yeah. No, I wouldn't say that.
Well, I'm glad,
Never.
because it's not that.
Never. No, I would never say that. No.
I expect an email from our HR department at any moment.
Exactly.
What,
I think
Sixo?
that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't see it, so I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
dear. No, but it's just a fantastic design. In a way, there's some bits to it that I can understand why people don't like it. Like, I have heard negative opinions on this thing. I read something about it just the other week that was kind of like, really not keen on it. And I get some of that. Again, it's to do with the waist being a bit odd. There's things like the Triceratops head does stick out a little bit on the front. Like, it's quite hard to. It doesn't really sit.
Yeah, it really makes you
flush.
think it should compact further, right?
100%. Like, I remember at the time fiddling with this thing and thinking, I'm obviously missing something with how the Triceratops head flattens down, because it doesn't. It looks like it should just push and click kind of into place, and it really doesn't. You just kind of have to fan the sort of sides of the head as best as you can to kind of make it look purposeful. And, it's got a lot of moving parts, bits like the shoulders that don't really sort of sit in place. They often sort of end up folded to the side or whatever.
I recall that now that you've demonstrated it.
Yeah, but I don't care. I just love it. A lot of people talk about his club weapon looking like a sort of molten bit of snot or something.
Wicked, though.
It's brilliant. I love it.
Have you seen the
What do you
repaint from Transformers Adventure?
I have not.
That's worth looking at.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on. No, I think I have seen it. Is it red and something?
It's a bit purpley, actually. A bit pinkish purpley
Is
in places.
it?
I've got to look it up myself now.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look it up, honestly.
Do you know what? I'm not even sure it has a repaint. I might be thinking of Swoop, actually.
No, it does. The purple.
It does. Yeah,
Yeah.
Adventure Slug. Yeah, I found it. He's called Slug. There you go.
That's why I didn't come up. Yeah, that was
yeah,
right.
yeah.
It's purple. Look how nice that looks.
That's really nice.
Does he still have the knick-knack of doom as a weapon?
I don't see the club there on the picture. The knick-knack of doom. I just got that reference. The knick-knack of doom.
He doesn't seem to have it, but that colour scheme.
That's really nice. That colour scheme really does something quite different.
Look how
with this
nice
toy.
the head sculpt looks in those colours.
Yeah.
That's movie inspired, isn't it? Because this is the adventure
Yeah, it
line,
could
so that
be.
would have been that time. It would have been Age of Extinction-y style. That's what it's based on, isn't it? It's them colours. Age of Extinction Slag, or Slug, or whatever he is.
Slug.
Yeah. Steve.
Slug. Steve.
Steve and his knick-knack of doom.
Yeah. Do you know, it reminds me of all the slag business always reminds me of chatting with my wife once. She'll laugh and hate this story. Laugh at and hate this story, I think. But just trying to get her to remember the names of some of the Dinobots. And she remembered that one of them was like a flying one. And I think she called it Swoosh. And there was Slurp was another one that she kind of guessed. Slosh, things like this. It was just, we did get there.
Slag.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
Have you?
I think you could. It's a bit like the Omnibots, like Glovebots
Sleet.
and all of that. Like you could have a whole host of other Dinobots.
There are like Slash. That's
Yeah, Slash was one of them. I think she came up with. Yeah.
Slip.
Yeah, right.
Do you know another thing I really love about this toy are the horns on the robot head as well.
Oh, perfection! Absolute perfection.
Super
Yeah.
nice. I really like that adventure one actually. That would
Yeah.
that would be the one I'd buy if I went for it again. I'd sacrifice
Really?
the neck of Doom. Yeah,
Really?
The little yellow paint apps on the shoulder, like they're just
it's beautiful.
They look wicked. They add so much. It's
Metallic
tiny little
purple,
details.
metallic purple dinosaur.
Yeah.
Come on.
I have to say, I do really like the kind of grey colour on this thing, though, because it's not grey. It's kind of a very sort of warm grey blue.
Is that the Takara you have? There?
No. It's,
Okay.
no, Hasbro.
Okay.
Hasbro. But yeah, no, it's sort of just a lot warmer than you would anticipate for a normal Dinobot, and I think it works really nicely. It kind of adds a little something to it.
I love the face
Yeah.
sculpt on it. Like, it's
So-
fantastic.
So good.
The expression is just perfect. It's just this little squat dude with a little squat head.
Yeah, and I love these little blue eyes. And actually, there's quite a lot of paint, on the sort of sides of the face. There's red,
Yeah.
even on his chin, things like that. So I just think phenomenal job, absolutely top tier. Derek Wyatt, R.I.P. What a genius!
Yeah.
Eh? Like honestly, just
Yeah.
I loved the fact that he clearly loved this franchise so much, just adored it, but reinterpreted it
Yeah.
in a way that was completely new and yet worked
Yeah.
100%. It was
There's
entirely
nothing like animated.
yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So, and it all reminds me of like when the first. I often think about when the first teaser for animated went live. It was I think it was leaked or whatever, wasn't it? There was like that picture of the cartoon.
Yeah, it was just before
And
BotCon 2007, I think.
Yeah, and everybody was up in arms. They were like, "What on earth is this?"
I loved it
Do you know
from
what I
the
mean?
start, man. Early
Yeah.
adopter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was seeing it in motion that just made it make sense for a lot of people. And this design for me is just one of the best.
Are you saying when people see something in actual context
Right.
that it might make sense and they might not hate it?
Yeah, it's almost like just giving stuff a chance is sometimes a good thing. I don't know,
Yeah.
like maybe, but yeah, for me, this is a great one. I actually kind of love that it isn't Snarl and it isn't Slag, and it's just kind of its own thing. I think that's cool. So that's my choice. Yeah,
Great choices
Fantastic
tonight.
one.
Great choices tonight.
Yeah. It's another one I've never experienced myself, but
is it?
I would
Is
like
that
to.
right?
Yeah.
Oh man, have you got any animated toys still?
I have one, but I can't remember what it is. I know I've got one remaining.
Can't remember what it is.
No, I know there's one animated toy remaining, but I did have Grimlock. It was fantastic, and I had Swoop whenever Swoop came out. And my brother had Swoop whenever that came out. And I remember I wasn't a fan of that one, but Grimlock was excellent.
Yep. Grimlock's top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, really, really good set of toys all round. Shame they didn't do all 5 of them, but
Hmm.
equally the 3 together is still good. So
I used to have the Takara 2-pack of Bulkhead and Soundwave, which were done in that amazing like candy coated sparkly paint.
Yeah.
nice,
Beautiful.
fantastic. Well, good choices all round, gentlemen. Well, that's going to about do it for this round of Hidden Gems, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as the last one. The last one, as I say, got a really good response. We had some fantastic comments from it. I wonder if this time the response will be, "That's not a hidden gem," just like you two. But, we'll have to see, won't we, in the comments? You can let us know.
The Ice Gem Wars, that's what they'll call it.
Sure, yeah, call it that if you want. And but yeah, if you want to hear us do more of this, we can always do a Hidden Gems 3. And on the road to another controversial opinions, maybe as well.
Yes.
It's always fun to kind of revisit these topics. But yeah, so moving on for the evening, we have a Patreon, don't we, Maz?
Yes. Patreon.com/Triple Takeover. That's where you go if you want more content. And we are up to 51 episodes, but we also have minisode 42 by now?
40?
Something like that. And we've got 3 running miniseries now, not just 2 but 3 for Gold Blocks Classics level, and you can commission minisodes as well and listen to them. You can vote in polls, decide what we do, early access to episodes, and for those of you who have got early access to episode 50, I bet you're very, very grateful that you had that. So loads of things on there. One of the things you can get at Inner Beast and Higher, as well as getting access to our Discord server, which is the place to hang out, is the ability to ask a question on the pod. And we have a question from Liam's favourite patron, Fartwarp, this time.
Yes.
And Fartwarp asks, who is your all-time favourite individual combiner bot? Is there a member of a combiner team that you like enough on their own that you would own even without their teammates?
Yep, Nosecone.
I kind of knew you were going to go with the Technobot.
Yeah, they're the best ones. They're all cool and weird, but Nosecone in particular, it just stands out on his own. He's not a jet or a car or anything like that. He's a weird drill.
That's a good choice. Yeah, and he is a weird one, isn't he? It's an unusual mode.
It's very blocky as well. All of his designs are always very square and blocky. It's got cool colours like brown and yellow.
Yeah.
And grey.
Plus,
cool.
I had that toy as a kid, so it's an automatic banger.
Yeah, everyone did. And he's got a cool little red cockpit thing. It's just a cool idea. It's a wicked.
Right. What about you, Mez?
Now, Fartwarp didn't say G1, so I'm going to go with J5, aka Rail Spike, out of JRX.
Ooh.
Because
I thought
go on, no, what were you going to say?
when you said J5, I thought you were going to say the Jurassic 5. I thought that's where that was going.
Well, it wasn't.
Well, that's your fault for saying the J5.
No, it's gone there now.
Well, we're in the concrete schoolyard, aren't we?
Was he smoked?
Have you never heard of the Jurassic 5? What is this?
Oh, Jurassic 5. Yeah, sure.
Oh my gosh. I'm
Jurassic
embarrassed here.
I thought you meant Jurassic Park 5.
That's what I thought he
Jurassic
was on
World
about.
or so.
The Jurassic Park 5. Who?
Like Jurassic World, whatever. I don't know. You know, like some people refer to Jurassic World as Jurassic Park 5. I don't know, whatever, man.
Anyway, yeah, that toy is a complete standalone success anyway. It's a gorgeous bullet train with a really cool transformation and totally complete robot mode as well. And it just happens to be the best part of the JRX combiner as well. So my answer is Railspike or J5.
Good choice.
Really good choice. Yeah, absolutely. This is a really tough one, honestly. Like, I feel a bit on the spot now. I kind of got you to go first, Maz, because I was like stalling for time. And now I'm like, it's a tough one because I guess I could choose something G1 or I could choose something non-G1. I kind of want to make it interesting.
He's just going to give us a tour of his collection now.
I'm really... Yeah.
Go on, pick something from Battle Gaia or something, or Leo Kaiser.
But is this? Oh no, I don't have Battle Gaia. But is this like an individual toy then? Is that the deal?
Yeah.
This is not like a
right. A toy that you would happily display on its own, not combined. I mean, you can even go with Masterpiece Shuki because that's pretty great, isn't it?
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Is that like there's all the Masterpiece guys. They're pretty amazing. I mean, Shuki is probably a Shuki in for that. What's his face? Mate, you're the one that did Man in Slag. Okay, I think we're
still getting a laugh.
Right. Sure.
That's
I think
the
I'm
bar.
safe with Shuki in. Yeah. That's the bar. I'm going to say, okay, sod it. I'm going to say G1 Hotspot.
Yes, great choice.
Excellent choice, yeah.
Blue Fire Engine. One of my favourite toys of all time. I say that whenever it's a good toy. I'm like, one of my favourite toys. But brilliant. Love it.
Do you know, actually, speaking of Hotspot, I think it was something John Pearl, one of our patrons, discovered recently because he was putting Toy Hack stickers on. Is that the flame is actually moulded into the side of a Hotspot's cab, right?
Is it?
It's like a space made for that flame sticker. It's like moulded into the side of the cab.
Is it?
Oh, you're making me doubt now, but I found that amazing.
That is really cool. Yeah, I love that toy anyway. I had it as a kid, so it's an automatic banger.
I'm going to check now because I'm really curious.
We all are. I think that's what we're all doing, isn't it?
Like a little moulded recess.
Yeah, I can see it. Am I imagining it?
Oh, God, why did I click on Worth Point?
No, I could definitely see it on the outsides of the sticker. It's definitely like a very obvious put factory sticker here marker.
Yeah, I can see it. There's a picture where it's peeling off, on the edge of the flames. And you can see the indentation around it.
I love that all three of us are sat here Googling pictures of the toy and we all own the damn thing.
I'm not going over there, mate.
literally 2 feet behind me, but
Yeah, we're all sat in the same room as a G1 hotspot.
There's an
and yet
entire
none of
photo
us-
set up and half of Diaclone between me and the cabinet.
I'd rather give myself repetitive strain injury than get up and, move
That
about.
just speaks volumes, honestly.
Well, thank you, Fartwalk, for the question. That is a very good one. And another perk of Patreon is you get a shout out on the show. And only for multiples of 50 will I do it in the Transformers the Movie narrator voice. So a big thanks in my normal voice to our butlers and our GBCs.
Normal is stretching it a bit, mate.
Nick, Danny Roberts, Andy, Preston, Chris, Spiderfather, Adam Shoemaker, Matt, Stephen Perkins, Bad Saturday, Justin Massaro, Dave Damprable, Gio Kaiser, Yusufer, John Pearl, Troy, Anthony Cars, Alec Meir, Captain R.A., Phil G, Jacques Pelletier, Rotorstorm, Stuart Webb, Amar, Laserbig, Puma the Hunter, Vegemite Mike, Peter Hammerson, Shenry, Chris Norris, Jesse Moreno, Nexus, Jim Owen, Aaron Swoboda, Billigator, Andy Gold, Cold Squall, Simon Elvin, Josh Ells, Misha Kid, Cracktastic Plastic, Devastator, Jeffrey Freak, Nice Sideburns, Andy Inbound Lee, John Wood, Kyler Wilmoth, Tim Banerjee, Campbell, Ben Lewis, Shinsei, Lucas Henkel, Mollis Koenig, Malcolm Hobbs, CNC Music Factory, CNC Rick 56, Mythic Gears, Zach Lawson, Jason Murray, David Shepard, Esteem, Quick Mix, Josh Bell, Ash Polt, Zindios, Christian Hyatt, Mark Alley, Andrew Bentley, Graham Moffat, Conacy, Burke Perotta, Eric Hoyt, Bobby P, Mike Lawyer Kono, Neil Bat, Tyler Husky, Chris Rodwell, Steve Redman, Fart Warp, Shawnee Sean, Jim Kinsey, Shaunty Siegel, James Pascoe, Ghost Prime, Chickle, MK Tronic, Hordet Walter, Charlie Chappelle, Maddie Clark, Jonathan Foss, Logic Howard, Alexis Taylor, Windows 6K, Teku James, Tyler Dickinson, Jeremy Woodall, Ross, Jetfire James, Doglanch UK, a saucy fellow, Absurd, Keith, Freedom is the Right, Anthony Strom, Michael Cagle, Dougatron, Big Doug, Hugh McKinney, Thomas Anderson, Squid Catfish, Rob Packerbush, Stevie P, Roy Han, and our new patrons, Ali Nunes, Cannon, John R, and the Mapes brothers. We might recognize. What a list.
Wow, that voice.
Well, also worth mentioning that we have our sponsor for the evening, which is tfsource.com, who you can check out for all your Transformers and third-party needs. So thank you very much to them for sponsoring the pod.
Yeah, thank you very much. And just a quick reminder that we do have a merch store if you are so inclined to want to wear a Triple Takeover t-shirt or shower curtain.
Yeah, you want to
you
wear
have to wear
shower
it.
curtain.
Wear
Hey,
a shower curtain.
Or an apron, you can wear them. People wear stuff, man. Don't judge their fashion sense. But if you don't have any fashion sense, you can head over to /people/triple takeover /
Fashion
explore
challenged.
/
Yeah, and we'll just wait for those merch bucks to roll in after Liam sold it that way.
You don't have any fashion sense. Get your clothes
What do you say that time? Check your spam folder. What was it?
Oh dear, brilliant.
And if there's anything you think you'd... Hang on, what are we talking about? This is the...
Socials.
It's not media, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, and if you can think of any hidden gems that that we haven't spoken about tonight, or something that's particularly special that you think we should know about, you can hit us up on social media. You can find us at Triple Takeover, all one word, on Facebook, and at @triple_takeover on Instagram and Twitter.
In addition to that, you will find us now on YouTube as well. You can check us out there at @triple_takeover on YouTube. We're back. We're going to be uploading new episodes soon as well, which is rather exciting. Just still currently working our way through our back catalogue, or we are at the time of recording this. Maybe we're not at the time of it going live. Who can say?
It's all those Enya songs that we're having to replace on YouTube.
Right,
That's
exactly.
taking the time.
Strip out any of the music and things like that. So it takes a bit of time, but all great fun. Anyway, where can they find you lads on social media?
It's weird to hear you say that. But I'm at TFsquareone on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And I'm at Toybox Soapbox, anywhere there's an at.
And I am at Sixo TF on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon.
I don't like it in a different order.
No,
I don't like
it's really
change.
wrong. What's happening?
What is this?
No one likes change. Liam doesn't, certainly.
Absolutely not. Well, that outtake that we did of this when you guys were doing the Rebel thing was brilliant. People should check that out on our Patreon.
Right,
We're signing
okay.
up for alone.
That's a good outtake. I guess it's me again.
Yes.
Right.
Can we go home now, please?
Yeah.
Is it home time?
Well, that'll about do it for Hidden Gems this round. I'm sure we'll be back to do more in the future. But thanks for joining us tonight for a bit of lively discussion. And I don't know, maybe you're heading on your way to eBay now to see what some of them are going for. Who can say?
See you on eBay.
It was like he just crashed. It's a blue screen error. He's got a blue screen of death.
Just got that noise that you get. Oh, what do I say? Is a little sign off.
Well, nothing wrong with that's fine.
You should go to that from that. Go from that. You making that noise to the test card sound. You remember that?
Just, that. Brilliant. Oh dear.
See you next time, maybe.
All right. I got this.
Tarami duck.
Take it sleazy.
Toodaloo.
Yeah.
Take it, please.
I was dying.
Take it, Slizardo.
It's going to sound perfect when that's edited, honestly.
Seamless.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just splice that in. Brilliant.
It's about a warpath and a half.
Click, 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 click.